Teachers, and you're listening to Show X Live with Ken in a student accommodation all the way in Scotland, and Wayne in his white windowless van? Uh-oh, I better get out of here. Enjoy the show!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Show X on VTWProductions.com. You're listening live at 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. GMT on this Sunday, the 24th of September 2017. Coming to you live, and unfortunately by myself today, as Ken is busy and running around doing other things. This is okay. We will manage through, and we shall survive. Although, you know, solo shows by Wayne are what they are. So anyhow, let's go ahead and try to get things kicked off with a little bit of
functional deviations.
All right, everybody, on dysfunctional deviations today. And admittedly, today may be a little bit more of a news-based show as I go through and read articles and things that have been coming up in my news feeds and such. So we'll probably do that. But to kick things off with dysfunctional deviations, I'm going to give you an update for those people who have not seen. I haven't released it really to everybody yet because I figured I needed to get this finalized, figured out, and understand how best for me to share it to the world is that I have gotten 2 new kittens in my life. They are young little kitties, and what are they? Maybe 3.5, 4 months old. And for those who don't recall, my cat of 19 years, Cleo, unfortunately passed away back, oh gosh, what was it, April time frame? It's been several months since it happened, and I was not a happy camper, of course. This was sad times for me, but managed to get through after, you know, some mourning and such. And then, as I'd said before, with the help, I guess, of my friend Hyde and of our friend Kuro's girlfriend, they pushed me into, or helped me, that's probably the better way, they helped me into realizing maybe it was time to add to my family again, that I had mourned long enough for my lost cat, and that I could probably handle having having another cat or 2 in my life. And so yes, went down, immersed myself amongst the kitties, and ended up adopting not 1 but 2 that at the time were named Squeaks and Legs. Squeaks because the littlest runt, which is admittedly what attracted me to the cats in the first place, but the runt that was called Squeaks was the only one of the whole litter that was really making any noise, that would make comments, would meow, do anything like that. And so I figured, hey, this, you know, I like runts. Cleo was a runt. Maybe that should be a good cat for me. So from there, I went and then played with and got Legs, because Legs was the more social of the runts of the 2 in the litter. And when I was originally going to get Legs, which is the one that both the gals were trying to push me towards getting in the first place, after hanging out with in the morning and realizing how social she was, I thought it would be wrong to take her home alone. At which point, I had to have a conversation amongst them to kind of say, okay, what is it I'm doing that is keep me, or that I should or shouldn't appreciate more than 1 cat? Because in the past I'd had 3, and the reason I didn't like it so much is that Cleo never got along with the other 2. Well, this time they were siblings, they already liked each other, so I was like, okay, I really don't see an excuse or reason not to do this, so maybe I should just do it. So got them home. As I got them home, I really did not care for the names Legs or Squeaks. Just didn't seem like it fit the personality for me. I mean, it made sense for when they were first acquired, and so I wanted to kind of soak on it for a bit to kind of figure out what personalities do these 2 kittens have. So after getting them home and trying to let them out and about the house a bit, I kind of sequestered them in my bedroom, and I have for a while now. They still are for the most part, as they get used to the house and being in a little more open space with just the 2 of them. And partially because they're both pretty skittish and right now run away from me more than I'd like. And so I kind of want to give them the opportunity to get more comfortable with the space and hopefully comfortable with me, without exposing them to the whole house and where they could run amok. They do need supervision. They're kittens. So there's that. So the longer they're around, figured out that the littlest of them, the more calico-colored cat, has a personality of being a bit devious and a bit of a butt. And so temporarily I had named her Loki type, being that her personality was somewhat like that. And for whatever reason, when I had first met Legs, I couldn't ever say Legs. In my head, it kept coming up as Lucy. So I just called her Lucy type, and she, being a little more princess-like, rambunctious and energetic, but wanting to be, like, runs away a bit, is more a follower to Loki type. So after running around with them, I had done kind of a search and talking to a lot of friends, because I thought, you know what? I need a name that's very geeky and out there, because all of my friends, when I hear their cats and stuff like that, their names are always so creative and they make sense and they come from some obscure anime or game or something like that. So I thought I wanted to at least take a step towards where the names don't need to be 100% known by everybody, but the people that know are going to be like, oh, snap, I get that. So through much searching and discussion, trying to find, preferably from an anime or game series where I could find sister characters that had the traits of either of these cats. Didn't find specifically that, but was suggested to me from my group that I go with a gaming name, and the one they suggested as they came to me was essentially from Zelda. For those who know, I know Grayfield knows this one for sure, where they basically went with Midna for the Loki type. Midna being young princess from, I forget which game of the Zeldas is. I'm still playing through. I'm still on Ocarina of Time right now. Stuck in the Fire Temple. Get to that. But the other one, not sisters, but both princesses in their own right. Tetra for the Lucy type. Tetra being Zelda from Wind Waker, but when doesn't know she's Zelda. And so, spoilers to anyone who hasn't played it, meaning me. And thus still princessy and energetic and spunky, and therefore meeting up with Lucy type. So she is now Tetra, and the other one is Midna. Thank you, Twilight Princess. Of course you would know. I knew you would know. And so from the two, we'll see how they fit. So far, it's looking and feeling and sounding good. So we'll see how it goes forward. But beyond that, getting them named was number one. So I was hesitant to kind of share them pictures or anything of them until I gave them names, because I didn't want to say just like Cat 1 and Cat 2. So now that they have names, I'm a little more comfortable. I need to now find ways to capture better photos of them, because I'm not as good a catmancer as I'd like to be. At least not with kittens anymore. It's been too long, I guess, and so kitties are now somewhat elusive to me. Or kittens are. So got them. They're doing all right. Did have some challenges where they consistently try to hide from me everywhere they can. Went up to the room when I had my cosplay group over, and they wanted to see kitties. We'd been running around all weekend doing various things. I think we started with, because we always seem to end up with each other on Friday, end up doing stuff all day Saturday, and then Sunday we break apart. And this time on Friday initially was trying to get them desperate. I wanted them to come see It with me, because that is, a classic remake of a classic horror flick. And I, for one, while I don't love horror movies, am interested and curious about them, and will watch them amongst friends, especially friends that might get more scared than me. Hee hee. So I was trying to get them to go see that. Initially, I was trying to get Hyde to go see it. Everyone kind of found ways around and deflecting the butts. But we ended up heading down to Zenko Akko's house. And from there, we were originally, again, I was trying desperately to get us all to watch It, which did not work out. And so instead, as they deflected, because Zenko Akko were like, no, not our kind of movie. I was like, come on, live a little, get outside your box. Let's do this. It's okay, we'll be scared together. No. It sucks because I've heard so many good things about It so far. I want to see it. But instead, we sat down, went down to Zenko Akko's, and on the way, Hyde and I had got kind of a, bee in our bonnet to do something silly, and so stopped by and got some materials to do facials, if you will, spa day, because why not spa day? As well as to get randomly things for my cats, because we happened to be right next to a PetSmart or Petco or something. Went in there and I treated the kittens a little bit because they do love plush, especially Tetra. Got them a very fluffy cat bed that is ridiculously soft, that I think all of us who felt it were like, so if this was in a dog bed size, I might just throw it on my bed and call it good. But got them very comfortable bed, got them some toys, and I got some, which I haven't seen at work yet. I tried to put on their toys, but they didn't care yet. What was supposed to be some catnip spray, so not just regular catnip, but some spray, because I wanted to make sure I focused it on their actual scratching toys so they can stop scratching up my carpet and such. Anyhow, so got them some stuff, then headed over to Zenko Akko's, and we proceeded to spend the night essentially doing geeky things, which I'll get to in Geek Cred. And so unfortunately did not see it, still haven't seen it, and still continue to hear from others that it is a great movie and I want to check it out. So hopefully, eventually, maybe someday that will happen. So did that. That was the kiddies, and I think the pretty much update. Other than when they all came over to hang out the next day after that, that was where I was going to. Went into my room, and I could only find Midna. Midna was the little more brave of the two, and while we'll still scamper away and hide under the bed, at least we'll look at you for a second first, and under the bed will look at you, won't necessarily run away. I had a goal of introducing them to the rest of the house a little bit more now that I had others to help corral them. And that's funny. Kuro, because that's where we got him, says that the other kitties have been evil since we took those two. Uh-oh. Well, hopefully we didn't take the only balance in your household. Scary. Let's see. So got them all together. Well, it was trying to find them. Found Midna, could not find Tetra to save our lives. And I looked all around the room, and I was a little worried because I'd had my cousin make sure to feed them the night before, and I was hoping he didn't leave them out, they didn't get away, something like that. But could not find Tetra anywhere. Was looking around. I had blocked off before. I'd taken foam and blocked off the underneath of all of my dressers because they were small enough they could like sneak and hide under those. It's like, nope. I'm going to make sure you're at least visible and I can get to you if I need to. And so I looked all around, couldn't find them. Checked in the cabinets. They hadn't got in my closet. I checked in the closet and bathroom area just to make sure they hadn't got under the door. Anything. As well as, by the way, when I got home, and one of the reasons I need to monitor these cats before I let them amongst the house is that when I went into the bathroom, I found in my bathtub one of these large decorative vases I have that I've filled with some things that was knocked over into the bathtub. And it's a large glass vase that thankfully did not break. I was actually, the way it in there, I was expecting it would have been shattered. And the stuff strewn throughout where I was like, oh, you butts, you cats. It's not even that I've seen them hide behind them, but that means they actively were trying to paw to get in them or something. I'm hoping that when it fell, it scared them enough that they won't go after it again. But I have fear that if I let them in the regular house, unsupervised, they're going to go around and get up on my counters and stuff in the kitchen and maybe knock over bottles of oil or alcohol or something, and I'll have mess throughout the house. So I'm trying to hold them until I can get them old enough and to train them what the rules of the house are and try to do better with that. So we'll see. So when I went and was looking for them and we found Midna, as I was walking around, I couldn't find Tetra anywhere. Finally, as we were starting to look through the rest of the house, came back and said, okay, stopped and did a little bit of where is a surface up above that she could have gotten to and might be stuck and hiding? Well, go figure, I have a dresser that's my smaller or lower one. Off the side that has a big mirror on it. A bunch of little figurines in front of the mirror, and she'd knocked over some of those before. I went looking around, I was like, maybe, and I started looking finally behind that mirror, because it's on a swivel. And when I looked behind it, sure enough, there she was tucked away. I tried to reach in from one side to get her, couldn't. Reach in from the other, couldn't. So I reached in underneath to grab her, and she just started trying to run away as I only got the back half of her, which led to my first probably decent major wound from holding and owning the new kittens, which is a scratch that goes all the way down my pinky finger on my right hand, from the first knuckle down halfway down my palm, from catching her running down the edge. It's been a while since I've had some good cat scratches. So that was a thing. Anyway, got him out, got him downstairs. We continued to do some things where we hung out, watched some anime and such, which again I'll talk to later. And for the most part, they did great. The challenging thing about both these cats is as soon as you actually get hold of them and, as we like to say, struggle snuggle them, get them so they are amongst you, you can actually calm them down and pet them. And Midna's the best, where she will just get all purry and loud and just rumbly. And then Tetra, still being a little princess the way she is, takes some coaxing. But between Zenko Akko mainly, and Hyde mostly with Tetra, and Zenko with Midna, These cats were basically swathed and cuddled and heavily petted for a couple hours straight as we were watching anime, and which was surprising. Not so much from Midna. Midna will cuddle, but from Tetra it was a little surprising. But we found kind of weakness. Hyde and Tetra are almost the same creature, and they were able to sync very well once got past all the but was able to finally get Tetra to relaxingly, and this after much petting and coaxing, do a cat scarf, which is one of my favorite things to do with a cat that's mine. Put around her neck so that Tetra was just kind of hanging around her neck, and did like the most adorable thing was like petting Tetra with her head. Anyhow, because yes, sorry guys, first part of the show, since just me, is all about cats. So if you don't like cats, come back in 15 minutes or 10 minutes. So did that well. They both were relaxed. Tetra loved the cat bed and was able to eventually get calmed down enough just to hang out in it without being pet constantly. Zenko, on the other hand, did even better. Zenko was like Catmancer plus some, or at least had again figured out the proper way to the proper way to talk to Midna, because Midna apparently likes a little more strengthy or like a little more heavy pets and secure pets, which is great for Zenko, because Zenko says she never really had good luck with cats because she likes dogs, and dogs she's able to like really roughhouse and such. But Midna's like close enough that she could pet her hard, and Midna just loved it, to the point where Midna was just like curled up against her shoulder and trying to get her head like into the nook of her shoulder, loving it, purring. And of that whole thing, the greatest part was watching both Hyde and mostly Zenko with like the biggest grins on their faces, like cat therapy plus some. If people who don't know or haven't heard before, Zenko is like one of the most bubbly, nice, motherly type people I've ever met. Absolutely love hanging out with her. She just always has a grin, is always happy. This took her personality to a level I've never seen. Like Hyde and a lot of us will play around and we'll make a face or something when excited, just kind of a over-the-top face. But with Zenko, she doesn't really do that. She just has this ear-to-ear grin on her face about everything. And with that, Zenko and Midna were just spending so much time together that I constantly watched Zenko's face just light up bigger than I'd ever seen. Just this massive, not just grin, but open mouth smile of just like, I'm so excited. This is so adorable. And again, just had her for like hours there as we watched anime and such. So that was amazing. It was a very good time. Anyhow, they did great catmancing. I got some of that, so they at least loved on me for a bit. I still need to spend some quality time with them as I'm running around everywhere. But hopefully that will get better. We shall see. So that is, I think, all of my cat update today. Like I said, I have a lot of work to do to get them comfortable. My goal to eventually get them where they can just wander the house and be happy about it. And when a person walks into a room or runs in the room, they don't just bolt. That's my goal, for them to be comfortable enough to feel like this is home and that not everything might chase or attack them. So we'll see. Also, nice thing is the toys we got, they seem to be a little more into, so might be able to tease them out with plays. So let's see. That is cats. I think that's all that is cats, which is probably more than I need. What else did I do around that? And let's see. As I multitask with all these kind of things that's going on with me as well. Anyhow, so I think that was good for that. Other than that, I was going to give an update on my eating habits. For those who don't know or hadn't heard before, and Ken, who scoffed and gave me crap for, I've been working on for the past 2+ weeks now a ketogenic diet. For those who don't know, a ketogenic diet is essentially a diet where you cut out all the carbs you can. You try to get to as close to 0 carbs as you can. You focus a little bit of protein, but primarily on fats, like rich fats. Lots of like butter, heavy creams, fatty meats, cheeses, things like that is what you're really after to eat. I've been doing that for about 2 weeks. I started my journey in keto at 210 pounds. And in the first week and a half, I basically lost about 15 pounds. Most of that initial 10 pounds or so is water weight, just kind of how you process and hold the water in your body. So it's not like real weight loss, although you see some of it. I'm now to the stage of where you actually are trying to hit and maintain keto to actually lose more weight to get down to. We'll see, but hopefully a goal of somewhere around either 185 or 100-ish. Or I mean 185, 180-ish pounds or something like that. We'll see. I don't think it's unreasonable. I feel like and see how much excess belly and stuff I have, so I feel like it's a possibility. Although I haven't been, at least in this case, under 200 pounds in probably 2+ years or something like that. So we'll see. It's good in the sense that I maintain energy, everything. I don't feel any of the negativity that sometimes run into with the keto diet. Sometimes the transition when you get off the carbs, you can get tired, start suffering from kind of a flu, as they'll talk about, a fatigue from it. Haven't really felt that. Maybe a day that was kind of that way, but for the most part, I've been good. The biggest challenge on keto for me has been I love me some carbs. I talked about initially when we went out for Akko's birthday. We went to a restaurant called Toast, and what do you figure Toast as but French toast, breakfast food, nothing but bread. I was able to get by, and I've actually successfully, everywhere I've gone, been able to find some kind of food that I could either make or was already pretty keto-friendly. And so it hasn't been as terrible as I thought, but it's a challenge in that there's all the other things on the menu that I still know I love and want some of. And so it's just like, oi, this hurts me. And so... So as I go out and hang out with friends, like at home it's not terrible, other than at some points I want to snack, and thankfully pork rinds are almost free for that, as they have 0 carbs and I can dip them in things. I made a wonderful sauce, thankfully, to my family who would give me some sauce packets of a sour cream based dip that I was able to dip pork rinds in, and it was phenomenal. And so I've been able to do well with that, lots of cheese and such, but the challenge is now it's all the other stuff, and I still have not made a recipe. I still haven't had time to go to the restaurant or go to a supermarket with an actual recipe book to make some of these great keto-friendly foods that are out there. There's recipes everywhere. I've been too lazy. And so I've been struggling through just kind of doing the basic. I have as I'm having this morning, some keto bulletproof tea, which you can also do with coffee if you like coffee. Essentially, it's a straight green tea that you melt coconut oil and butter into, non-salted butter. And it just adds all the fat you need in the morning, plus gives you some caffeine to get started. As well as I just ate a hamburger patty by itself, a bit of seasoned salt on it. That's basically it. Which fills you up really good, to the point where I went all of yesterday with almost no food, which is kind of crazy. The way the energy processes out of fat, it burns much cleaner. Anyhow, I'm not trying to sell you guys on the diet, just let you know what I'm doing. I'm at a struggle point where I've only lost about a pound or 2 in the last week. And so, like I said, I'm getting through that first plateau. Not sure if I'm going to do some bone broth or other types of fastings, or if I'm just going to do the tea or such, but we'll see. And I need to, as I'm also trying to get active and start running again and do push-ups, things like that, just to in general fight this whole thing. So I can try to get down to that 180. We'll see. So the challenge of that is I continue to go out with friends. So what I had managed and where it started on Friday, and I apologize to last week's guest, Take a Chance, because I was supposed to meet with her brother and talk about podcasting, but I was able to get out of doing some stuff at work early, and it happened to hit the perfect timing on a Friday where one of my restaurants I like to take people to, that I only take people to on a Friday afternoon for lunch because it's the only time they have good deals, but it's this steakhouse down at one of the malls that they serve this huge pork chop at. I know I've talked about it on the show before because it's amazing. I say it's a 4-finger thick pork chop. It really is. It's basically half price when you do that. And so I just happened to have where Hyde and her mother were out and about, and Zenko Akko were doing some things that I said, hey, everyone, if you're available, let's converge on this steakhouse. Got them to come and treated them to it, and that was one of the first challenges because, oh gosh, this steakhouse. The carbs they serve are amazing. Thankfully, the meat is as well. So the pork chop was the pork was made with a little bit of sugar in the sauce, but not much, or kind of some brown sugar in there, so a little bit of carbs there. But other than that, they put normally mashed potatoes around it that are phenomenal. Thankfully for me, they let me put in asparagus instead, which buttered, so that's good, as well as applesauce, which they won't let you sage out. So instead, I think, Hyde my extra applesauce. Like, here you go, all the carbs, take it. And that was quite good. But they also have like cream corn, which I love there, as well as some cream spinach, which I did try. I had some of them, and I don't know how friendly that was. And just some other things that were just so good. But everyone partook. Everyone got way too full. Oh gosh, their bread. So probably the biggest challenge eating out on keto. Every restaurant serves bread at the beginning. Why? I don't say why. It's amazing. I love it. I wish I had more. But when you're trying not to, oh boy, smelling the bread and the butter with it was just painful. I wanted it so bad. So, oh well. Thankfully, Akko and Hyde got to polish that off, and they enjoyed it. I ordered some extra butter for my pork, and I was okay. Some garlic butter they had. It was great. So anyhow, finished that, and from there we just kind of stayed together, all of us. Zenko Akko ran away for a bit. Hyde I kept for a bit as we ran the mall, and I might have looked at to see if I wanted it right now, a iPhone 8, because they're out. And I'm still sitting on a 4S because my 6 Plus died. And the temptation to just go ahead and buy one that day was more than a little tough to avoid, like, oh gosh. But when I got hands-on at the Apple Store, it made it a little easier because I was like, so this is my phone. This is the 6 Plus. Why do I care? I say it makes it easier. It means it just makes it easier for me to wait because I'm still probably going to end up getting a 10 for the OLED screen. And yes, all the features that have been out on Android for the past 2 or 3 years and spend too much on it. But regardless of that, let's see. I have someone offering to buy me filament, so what? Oh gosh, what is the filament I usually use from Amazon? I think it's let's see. I want to say this Matter. What did I say? The stuff I use is an M. It's not MakerBot. No, Hatchbox. Hatchbox is what I usually use. Yeah. Sorry, as I'm live, as part I will talk about in the next part is the Geek Crit, is some of the stuff. Let's see, but so I looked at the 8 Plus. I got to get hands-on in the store, the 8 and 8 Plus, and it really didn't get me enough to say like I need one today. So I'll wait. I'm still struggling because my phone can barely do anything like stay alive all day, and phone calls are even sketchy on it. But I'm looking forward to the 10. We'll see. I did get a chance to also look at and play a little bit with some Android phones over the weekend that have intrigued me, and while are cheaper, are not so much cheaper to make it a no-brainer. And so I'm just kind of like, still struggling. I know Kuro's on here as an Android fan, and he would tell me all day, just get like an 8, Nook 8, I don't know what number they're on, Plus or something of those, but not yet. So I got to play with those. It satiated me to not jump on one today, this moment. And then also went like sat in some Teslas and wandered around. Tried to go to Lego store because, holy crud, what is on the Lego store? They had on display the new Millennium Falcon Lego kit that only people that had gone and like stood in line to get the initials have gotten. And I want it so bad. Admittedly, I had a moment there where my personality, which is, or I could just do this now and hurt my credit card. They had one on display, and it's the biggest kit I think they've ever made. Millennium Falcon's massive. It was easily like almost 3 foot long, 2.5 feet. But what was it? It was, I think normally it sells for $800 or something like that. And while that's way too much for a Lego set, since they had it on display, I was looking at it. If they had happened to have any in stock, which they don't and won't, and good luck for anyone getting one, I was going to buy one. I was going to be like, screw it. I know what I'm doing tonight. Anyhow, thankfully they didn't. It saved me some money. But we all met up again and did the rest of our night after kind of those shenanigans there. So keto and eating. Next bit on that, and sorry, Copy, I don't always respond to text messages. It just depends on where I'm at, what I'm doing. Next note I had is, so amongst hanging out, and this was not chronological, but more what's geek and what isn't. One of the other things we did, and this was last night essentially, as we're hanging out at Hyde's, where we ended up after everything. we're hanging out, and in the basement, her family has, I will argue, the best massage chair I've ever experienced. Has all kinds of settings. You even put your arms into these things. It clasps and just crushes and pulls you apart in so many directions. And we're all hanging out. Didn't turn on TV for whatever reason. We're just chatting and such. But Zenko and Hyde basically sat down, and Hyde started going through all these old toys. And in doing so, introduced us to her Digimon collection. No, not Digimon. It was a Lego thing. Bionicles collection. A whole freaking tub of those, as well as is what has been hinted towards me in some photos but not shared with the mass community, was so don't spread this for the people who watch the show. Thankfully, most of the people should be worried about don't. But introduced me to her My Little Pony collection, and she has a significantly good one. But in that, was going through and went through a bunch of miniatures, and you guys know I'm a brony. I like my Little Pony. She donated to me a couple that she had multiple duplicates of that I've now added to my herd. And so from that, she provided me with a little miniature Fluttershy, because Fluttershy is amazing. A same model, which we talked about, the ones that use like models, and therefore it's not accurate 100%, but Rainbow Dash. And then ones that I hadn't picked up before because I thought they were a little like, silly or not, but a Pinkie Pie and Twilight Sparkle that are, I want to say it's just a gem type or such. They have a luminous kind of look to them. And so after seeing them and having my post that I did on social media about getting them and some other people responding, I feel like I should probably, as I hopefully transition back up to my office this week, find a better way to display them all. Maybe some shelves or something. We shall see. But yes, so I have no new ponies in my herd. All right. I believe that is all the things I had to talk about that aren't geeky this week. I was trying to think. I made some quick notes because I was also running in here this morning trying to get a bunch of things together and doing, because a lot of it's been sitting over there bothering me with things I have to get done in time crunches for 3D prints. Anyhow, as well as I had a meeting this morning talking about podcasting. So those are the things I did there. As I get ready to transition over to Geek Cred, I will remind everybody that you can join in the show, both in the IRC, if you aren't currently but are watching or listening. That on the video stream, which you always see in the bottom of the screen there, are IRC, which you can log on to any of your chat clients that you use for IRC and go to quakenet.org, irc.quakenet.org, and go to the # or / VTW channel. That is where we talk live, and that's where people chat to let me know when I'm screwing up the show or other things are happening. So go ahead and jump on that. Also, if you don't have a chat client, you can go to the front page of VTWProductions.com, click on the chat button at the top of the website, and it'll take you to a built-in embedded browser chat window where you can both listen to the show in the left-hand corner as well as log in with whatever name you like and jump into the chat that way. And that way you can communicate with me while the show. The other way, and what I'm getting towards for now, is if you have been doing something that's been geeky in the last week or just something you'd like to share with all of us, the fans, and those who listen to Show X, email into the show at showx@vtwproductions.com. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to have you. And as I will transition now into our Geek Cred section, and if you do send me any emails during the time, I will read them out. Would love to hear back from you. So, with that, I'm going to do a switch over here. And
I'm a
go
geek.
ahead, say.
Are you a geek? Geek Cred, level up!
And so as we get into our Geek Cred today, and it's kind of funny as I see Hyde log into the IRC right after I went and maybe dropped all her details about things. Greyfield, right into the show about this. We have many fans of Symphony of the Goddess. Much loves, much likes. You guys heard when I went during Comic-Con, thanks to Hyde, and have gone before. So yes, please let me know your experience because it's such a good symphony. And you went cosplay too, so yes, email me before it's too late. All right, so with our Geek Cred today, now I get to talk about all the geeky things I did with my group this weekend, not just about my cats. So, to start things off, let's see. Actually, no, I will. I will start off with things that weren't what we did, and then I'll get into story time. So I'll change the order on this. First things, I will talk at least about some gaming and such. And sorry, Hyde, I did at least for the show contest mention that you showed me your My Little Pony collection, so thank you for that. But gaming. What have I been gaming? Not nearly enough. I've been busy doing all kinds of other things. What? Look at you, Grayfield. Awesome. So for those who aren't paying attention to the IRC right now, or just listening in, Grayfield, while not emailing me in the Geek Cred, is chatting live that she went to the Zelda Symphony of the Goddess. And I believe, Grayfield, you dressed as Zelda this time? Because normally, I'm not sure which character. I thought you were working on Zelda. But says that the cameraman found her and put her on the big screen before the music started, which is awesome. I know when we went, Hyde went in her Sheik cosplay, which was also very cool. And so, very, very nice. But yes, let us know, like, what exactly you did and what your experience with that was. I will read that email. Oh, let's see. Whoa. Okay. I was going to say, I suddenly get massive messages from people, but it's for future adventures. Okay. So, going in, gaming-wise, I did some PUBG this week. Little bits here and there, not nearly as much as I'd like to, because just been busy with other things. After, my highlight of my gaming career with PUBG and getting my first chicken dinner, yay, I'm still stuck now where I haven't been doing as well as I'd like to, and it's bad in some cases. I was just dying way earlier where I was doing okay, and I got a little aggressive, like going after a package drop or something, and sure enough, blam, somebody's already there. And I show up, they start shooting me out, I try to get away, and I'm dead. So, too much of that, but I need to find time to sit down and play more, as well as to finish, and what I'd like to be playing is more Zelda Ocarina of Time. One of the things is I talk to others, and I'll hear things on occasion about how amazing the game is and how there's so many things to do. And I'm currently stuck in the Fire Temple, where am I at in it? I am trying to find... Because I don't think I finished Fire Temple yet, but I got past the compass... And did I get the Megaton Hammer? I think I did. I think I am, because I get past the first stage boss. Did I get the boss key? I think I got the boss key. Maybe not. Maybe that's where I'm at. I'm either at the mini boss or the boss key. Somewhere in there that I'm getting close, but I have to double check where I'm at with Fire Temple. I need to finish the same thing, because apparently I have too many other temples to get onto. So there's that. Because I forget what's next for me. Anyhow, but so I need, PUBG, I need to get more on some Zelda. The other thing I need to get onto, really just all my games. I'm going to have to find a time, one of these weeknights or something, to play a ton of games, because starting next month for VTWers, DreamHack's coming. If you didn't pay attention, if you weren't aware, DreamHack, one of the biggest gaming LAN tournaments that happens anywhere, is coming to Denver for the first time. And in doing so, we are getting a bunch of people lined up. A bunch of us have already grabbed seats for those who have got pre-orders or early premium membership. We are in just across from the CSGO area. I don't know if it's officially by tournament, but by seat. And I think we're in SB, 9 through 13 right now is who VTW has signed up for. So if you also have a ticket to come to DreamHack, please sign up and try to get either with us, behind us, or across from us, because we'd love to get VTW together strong. We plan to all show with our jerseys and show up hard. I need to play games more because we may or may not try to get into a couple tournaments, one being PUBG, which could be interesting, as well as just anything. We may do some Rocket League and some others because there's a lot of pickups. And so, yes. Oh, yeah, Kuro, you remember all these points that we put online where we said, hey, seats are available, sign up. Get on that, man. As well as other VTWers. If you're here, I haven't checked recently, but we have one of our members who signed up who is not able to go, and will give his seat up to a member of VTW. So if that hasn't happened, if you need to know, either contact me or check the VTW gaming site on YouTube or on Facebook, and go from there. And he is offering up a ticket, which is a seat, which is huge, because the seats, I think, for the premium ones start at like $150 or more. I know my founder pack was like 400 something. The only thing is you still have to give him all the swag, but you get to go for the bring your own gaming rig. So check that out. What else was there? So I'm trying to prep for DreamHack, trying to get the whole group inside. I think we're also going to rent a motorhome to have in the parking lot, so we have a place to sleep, go for those who didn't get premium stuff, as well as to keep our booze, food, and other things like that. So we just have a way to get away from the crowd and have our own moments. Maybe do shots, things like that, strategize before going back in and gaming constantly for the weekend. So highly looking forward to what's going to be another LAN party that I'm not hosting, so I'll be able to play games. It's going to be amazing. All right, now back to things I've been doing that's been geek this week. So, the gaming and all that happened, little bits here and there. I need to make sure I keep a note on here afterwards for 3D printing, because I have a lot of little things to talk about with that. But first off, want to talk that as the Friday night, our group getting together, Hyde, Zenko, Akko, and myself all getting together down at Zenko Akko's place, we gave the opportunity, challenged, love Zenko Akko. Man, they've watched and done a lot of anime. But Akko has recently been trying desperately to introduce us to like all of the different anime he's ever watched, like all 300 plus series he's finished. Which, yay, can't wait, has some great ones, but darn it, we have ones we have to finish. There's got to be an order to things. Got to remember these things. And so with that, we started by forcing them to take us back to one of the big shows and series they wanted us to finish for some time now, which is Steins Gate. And Steins Gate is one of these shows that, how do I want to say it? It's one that I had always messed up because I would think, Steins Gate, you mean Gate? I would always say Gate until they fought, and so I would never get it because I was always like, oh yeah, that one's like, no, Steins Gate, as in the series, and I was just like, I don't know that one. I'm sorry, and so it worked out that. They eventually sat me down to watch it because they do cosplay from it, and I was like, oh, snap. No, I have not seen this show at all. But Steins Gate, for those who don't know, quick plot summary. It talks about the main character, Rentaro Okabe, is a self-proclaimed mad scientist who believes that an international organization is conspiring to reshape the world according to its own interests. He and his friends, and I'm terrible with all these names, Iru Hashida, inadvertently create a gadget able to send messages to the past. The discovery and experimentation of this instrument becomes the catalyst for fundamental alterations to the present. And it goes on from there. So it's a time-based anime and a time loop one that happens. So Kuro, like I said, we're in that range, and as I'm hearing from your gal, if you get onto the Facebook and talk, I think the seat that we have reserved on that side is 13. SP13 is the one that's open if you find the post about it and you're able to proclaim. If not, grab one on either side or somewhere amongst us within that range. But SB, and we're 9 through 13, I think, currently that we have reserved. So anywhere within, like, either back-to-back or next to would be great. Says I don't know if Hyde's available for that or not. Thanks. Anyhow. So Steins Gate is a deep, deep anime. It's one of Zenko Akko's favorite of all times, and they don't give out that kind of title lightly. It is one of the most intelligent anime I've seen in some time. So we had spent a few months kind of watching the first half, and we stopped right as things were starting to get into the thick of things, where we had just been introduced, as you will, to kind of the overall this is what's happening. And it hit us right at the point then where we were about to get into where everything starts coming together and coalescing to say this is what's seriously going on. And so from that, we stopped and we did a bunch of other things. Every time they come over, I made them watch Westworld, or we did littler movies or other things. So we just didn't really sit down to do a binge of the series again. Because we didn't know, at least Hyde and I, how much time was left in it, where Zenko Akko were like, oh no, we just gotta wait because this is the big important part. So we finally got back together Friday night, and instead of watching all these new anime, which Akko was like, how about this? How about this? How about this? We're like, how about we finish Steins Gate before I completely forget anything that happened in the anime? And I'm pretty bad about that anyways. So we got it going, and wow, does it cascade over into all the things that start happening. And it's one of these things that if you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil, because time loop stuff means there's things that just happen back and forth and over again. And you got to pay attention to see some of the new, like, nuanced changes in things that happen as timelines get altered, as well as to get to the really big plot points and kind of arcs that are happening to see what's really going on. By the end of it, they wrap everything up in a way that you now go back and understand everything. But it's something that, you know, Zenko Akko had said that if you, after watching it multiple times, you watch through and you start seeing more and more of those hints early on. Much how I talk about Westworld, where there's things in there that if you've seen it before and you watch it again, you see things that are like, holy crud, I never noticed that before. All these tells they give you to some of the biggest plot twists in the show. So watching through it, admittedly, as I was watching Steins Gate initially, I did not love the main character. I thought he was a bit spastic and more so than the situations called for. And from that, I'm kind of like, well, challenge. It was more of a, I just didn't know if I liked him or not. It wasn't I hated him. It wasn't ReZero where F that main character, to the point where I hate his name. I don't even remember his name now, but someone I want to punch in the face more than actually like watch or do anything. This one is more just like, his energy, I don't know, I don't get it. Instead, as it goes on, it starts to make more sense, and as you get up to the finale, he's not necessarily a different character, but you understand what he's done more, and he's less spastic, and it's kind of, wow, this is deep. Holy crud, this is heart-crushing. And there are some moments that, how do I say it? There are anime out there that will pull at your heartstrings, that will cause you to, like, what is it? It causes you to have feels more than you might expect or have been planning for, where all of a sudden you're like, holy crud, this is a way more meaningful, like, interactive thing than I ever knew. And in that, you're just like, oh, snap. And it does that. I mean, I talked in past of essentially, what was it? Sword Art Online, the second season of that. How when I first started watching it, I was like, man, okay, it's fine, whatever. And I couldn't get through, started watching more and more. And by the end, I was like, oh, that's pretty good. And then it hits like the season 2 plus, the little point, whatever after it, new story arc, where in a matter of like half the amount of episodes, I was just, oh God, why? Why did you do that to my heart, to my soul? You're not supposed to have done that. This is a lighthearted, kind of nice anime. And by the end, I was like, I'm in tears. You suck. Well, this one had moments of that where, oh God, there was one just, it hit you so quick. They hit emotional roller coaster where things are coming together and it's like, oh, this might be good. No, this is bad. And then up again where it's like, oh, I think it all worked out and this is actually great. To at the end, like getting something just after this high where you're like, yay, that you're like, what? No! Not only is this sad, this is like heartbreaking. You can't do that to this character. I mean, oh my gosh, hurt my soul. And then ended on a slightly lighter note, but even then I was like, no, you don't understand. The darkness you just took me through is not erased by you saying it was better afterwards. It's not. This hurt. Don't do that. So it catches you, and then from then on, there's like some ups and downs and some crazy stuff that happens. You're just like, what? WTF? It all comes together great in the end, and even then, in the end, afterwards, as we were sitting there, Hyde and I were a little emotionally drained at that point, and Zenko Ako just looking at us like, oh no, it's okay, don't worry. There are bonus episodes that, as we watched, actually brought together the story even better. Towards by the end of it, we were like, okay, now I'm actually pretty happy. This is not a bad way to end the series. And just made it to our, I have to put it up there, Steins Gate is really, really good. Such a smart anime, not gratuitous anyways. I think we jokingly said there was one shot talking about one of the characters going to an anime convention, and they really quick did a shot where there's a bunch of cosplayers and stuff, and it was like half of a booty shot or one real quick on the scene from the side, and that was it. And it was like, and there you go. That is your limit of gratuitous body parts in this anime throughout. Like, huh, okay, there you go. So just silly and such, but yeah. Oh, it was so good. So we finished Steins Gate finally, which opened us up now for the opportunity to see all of the other anime that exists in this world and that have been rated by Zenko Ako. So Ako then, and it was getting late. There were more episodes than we thought there might be, and so it was getting pretty late. I think, after it was all done and had a moment, transitioned eventually to the floor, started passing out there. But Ako then took us through, like, what was on Crunchyroll, his list of anime that he thought were like, these are the ones you need to watch, which is great and fun. But when he's seen so many, there was too many on the list that was like, okay, yeah, definitely want to see, wait, and that one, yep, want to see that one too. Yes, and those 5 as well. Sorry, I'm not taking notes right now. I don't know when I'm going to get to these. But it was enough so, and he was so enthusiastic that I think both Hyde and I just started dropping off at that point, where it was like, nope, too much, done. Yeah, so that was good times. That was a lot of fun. Then beyond that, what did we do that was geek for that? I myself have still been in between. This is kind of a side note between the next series we started, where I've been watching Dog Days, which is a very lighthearted anime I've talked about before, where characters are all anamorphic and they fight kingdom to kingdom, but the fights are done in almost like a Ninja Warrior style, or actually it's more like an old American Gladiator style, but where they fight and get points, and whoever wins they split money and stuff like that. Continue to watch it. Continue to think it's adorable and fun. I do love the characters in it, and it's just one of these ones that's not as deep and crazy as some, although it has some moments. It's a light-hearted, just good anime that's solid to the characters and one I'd recommend for anyone. Nothing that you'd really have to worry about other than there's a couple scenes that aren't adultish, but they're handled in a way that are just kind of matter of fact, that in other anime would have been the big, embarrassing, holy crud moment. So I recommend Dog Days. I don't know where in the series of it. I've had some peaks in it plotline-wise, but it's not done, so I definitely have not hit a finale. And I don't even think I've hit an overarching evil or something that's kind of leading towards the next. I think I just started the next story arc where something is out there. It's kind of going to the bigger problems in the world. But the next anime I wanted to talk to, let's see. Sorry, I'm responding again. I just had it on here too, on Anime Net. I'm getting my little background stuff from Anime News Network, plot summaries and things, because you should go there. It's a great way to share what anime you've had to make notes and stuff about what you like and don't. AnimeNewsNetwork.com. Free accounts. The other one we just started, which was one that all the others have seen, not myself, but they said is worth and absolutely a must to see, is Baccano. Which, Baccano, plot-wise, is each of the stories in the series involves several unrelated plots intersecting and crossing each other as events spiral farther and farther out of control. Immoral alchemists, mafia operated speakeasies, and many other elements of Pulp Fiction mashed together in a world straight out of the movies. This is one that they also, all of them, consider to be an epic anime. One of the ties to it is made by the same people who did Durarara, and so it has that kind of feel to a lot of the characters, or just the way the animation and drawing is. And in a way, similar in the sense that it has a massive cast of the number of main-ish characters you could even claim. This is one that, again, it's kind of 1930s is when it takes place, but it's 30s-ish in that multiple years. It's a time one in that, as the plot talked about each of these stories, it shows snippets of stories of certain characters or groups from their perspective, and then we'll jump time years plus or minus from what you just saw, and show either that group or another continue on a different story, and then jump back to another character or group you saw in that. Yay! So, back on. Hopefully people have stuck with as same thing, same time, my internet decides to just turn off. At least this time I caught it as it was happening, and so in this case I was able to keep from my computer hiccuping and dying as well. Because, yeah, that has happened to me a couple times. So, totally like grr. Let's see. But anyhow, yeah, so that happened. Now I'm back, hopefully. Let's see. And I just need to reconnect to there. So definitely calling Comcast, because that's 3 weeks in a row that they have essentially failed me. Yeah, that's fun. So thank you, Comcast, for whatever that is. And I checked, and it was definitely my my network, my connection this time, not my computer. So I looked, and it was blinking saying, "What, internet? Nah, you don't need internet." And it's almost been the same time every Sunday. So I am going to be talking to the internet provider like, WTF, you guys are failing me. So that's going to happen. Yeah, awesome. Anyhow, so continuing on, now that those, not necessarily resolved, but better. So as I was saying, Baccano, and what Baccano is, let's see. So Baccano interesting anime. Like I said, it has all these characteristics from things you'd recognize in Durarara and the way the characters are, but its own place and stage. We only got through, oh gosh, how many episodes? I want to say only in like 3 or 4 episodes into the series so far. And it starts with a bang. It starts in a way that once it's going, you're like, oh dang, okay. Well, that's interesting. And as they introduce aspects, you start kind of catching up with what's really going on. And you definitely have to pay attention to some of the words stated, what's going to happen, things like that, and come back and forth. And Kuro, I don't know. From what I've been on, I have not noted it going out other times during the week, but I haven't been on enough to really realize if it's just Sunday during the show. So I don't know. It is a challenge and something that I'm going to talk to Comcast about, and hopefully they will be able to solve something. Although the challenge is not today, because right after the show I have to run away to go play Dungeons & Dragons. And so I will just have to put this as a to-do list amongst many other things that I need to get this fixed, because not happy. I will put it in the nicest way. Not happy. Okay. Hopefully as Baccano continues, I will appreciate it even more. Unfortunately, this is one that I'm going to be waiting to see with the group, because I think they appreciate watching it again with me just as much as everyone else, as they would like rewatching it. And so I'm looking forward to that. Let's see. Continue on. I'm trying to think of anything else. I do need to mention what is the characters I love so far. Everybody seems to have their favorites, and everybody likes to look at, for me, things that you could cosplay as. I always look at when I look at any anime or something like that. In this case, where was it? The character I like this. Oh, and one of the other things I had to say is this is one of the few anime, I must reiterate, few anime where Akko gives it a pass on its American voice acting. Normally, he is very, very specific about, heck no, you gotta watch it in Japanese because the voice acting is not up to snuff. This is one of the few, like absolute few, where he said, nope, the voice acting and the English cast is just as good on the anime as the Japanese voice acting. So he actually turned it on in English, which blew my mind. It main reason I was first like, what are you doing? So yeah, but my favorite character, gosh, it's a couple, and where is his name? I want to make sure I say it right. Admittedly, one of the first ones they really spend some time on that's kind of interesting, or kind of one of the first ones is Firo. Was it Firo Procenezzo, because it's Italian based, all that. So I'm trying to say that right. But the couple, where are they? I thought it started with an I for the main character I liked, because they're nutty. And I'm going to miss this, and I need someone to like fill in the blanks for me. Grr! Where's the couple? Ian? No, not Ian. Come on. Jacuzzi. Not Jacuzzi. Not Lad. Darn it! The couple's amazing. What's her name? Starts with an M. It wasn't Mice, was it? Oh, that bugs me. Bugs me that I can't say the two like most over-the-top characters in it so far that live in their own little world. But they're phenomenal. So this is my challenge with me and names of especially anime characters. But there are a couple that run around in their own world. They love to change costumes, everything they do, and they're just so over the top and like upfront with, "Hey, how's it going over there today?" There's one where it's like, it might be, "Hey, Ian," and it's like, "Yes, yes, Mia," or whatever. It's like, "Yes." And just the way they talk is so over the top and fun. So there are definitely some characters in Baccano, and so I'm hoping to enjoy and check out more of that with the group when we have time. Alrighty, so other things. So that was Baccano, that was Dog Days, that was Steins Gate. And actually, I will continue since the break and then take an actual break, before coming back with news. The other thing I was going to talk about is 3D printing in general. Let's see. Is that I just today, in fact, and have been, let's see. Is that I just, thank you, Grayfield, for that. I appreciate that. Even if you did know their names, you'd butcher them beyond recognition. Well, thank you for that. Yeah. but 3D printing wise, I continue to try to keep my printer going constantly. I'm using it right now to do some gifts for friends. This coming Friday, there's going to be a birthday party, and there's several things I'll talk about this coming show that I'll do. Is that I've been printing some gifts for our author friend John's fiance for her birthday this coming Friday. She loves steampunk and things like that, so I have at least one thing that is steampunk-ish for her, as well as some things we talked about that I think she would appreciate. And so I've been an opportunity of kind of going through and trying different models and finding things. In doing so, I also happen to just get 2 new filaments that I've been waiting for from Robo 3D themselves. These filaments are different in the sense that not only are they a certain color, this being the colors red and purple, they're actually colored specific to strawberry and grape. Partly what goes with that coloring is a scent. That's right, I have scented filament. Now the interesting thing about this, and it was my hope versus reality, was that the scent would persist, because what it does do is as I'm printing, it smells wonderful around my printer. It smells like either strawberry or grape, and it just kind of continues on like an air freshener. It's wonderful. The challenge, and what I was really hoping for, is that it would actually carry through to the print itself, and unfortunately, so far, it just hasn't. Like, I kind of tell myself it's still there, and maybe the scent, but I think it only really has smell when it's heated up, when the plastic's warm. So I don't think that's actually the case. But printed part of her gifts in those 2, so I was hoping to add a little bit of scent, but I don't think it's going to happen or really actually work. But with that, I won't show her gifts just in case, because John likes to watch the show on occasion, and then it's a surprise for him as well. But some of the other things I've been printing, because once I had a color of filament in there, I was like, well, I should do something else kind of with this color before I pull it out. I mean, the machine's really easy to switch out colors, but still, it's like it's already in there. What else can I print that's this color? Which has been good, except that right now I'm also behind in things I have to print, so there's that aspect. Well, I've been having a war at work with one of my friends, our buddy Hydroxycut, and thankfully these are still PLA, so not even bad ABS, so I'm not going to die from it, Kuro. But, and I need to clean these up yet. These are pretty fresh off the printer, and I just kind of cleaned up just a tiny bit of it. But I was like, what else has kind of a grapish color I could do? And Hydroxy kind of have a thing where we keep trying to come up with better figurines to have on our desks. And one of the ones that we do is he has a couple like Pokemon. And I've gotten a few different ones that I've printed off. I have what's on my desk right now? An Onyx, what's next Onyx? Shoot. A Vaporeon, that's a totally wrong purple color. And I'd recently done a little small one. Shoot, I forget what my newest one is that's on there. Anyhow, as I continue on, I decided to use that grape color and find Pokemon that might look appropriate in that. And the ones I did, you see, there you are, Greyfield, getting up in a good place. Not accurate, but good in a way, as I did a Nidoran, little guy. And not the exact color, but it works, I think. As well as I did a, oh shoot, what was I going to say? A Coughing. That I also did. Yes, I know, but the pink I have is not the right pink, and so it's closer. I do have a pink, and actually the Nidoran model I had is not the best either. And so I kind of did those. And yes, I know it's not perfect, but it's close. And so for the colors I have, I liked it. And so we'll try to find more, but those are all things I do in my office to kind of fight against them and say I have more swag geek-wise than you do. Ha. So anyhow. Printed those. What else have been pretty? I've been commissioned to print some things. I had printed for Hyde because she loves Nier. I think I had mentioned before. Pod. Well, upon seeing that, our mutual friend Cameron, better known, what did we do? Was it potentially pun or no? What kind of pun is he? I need to look at that again. Darn it. Pun intentional. That's it. Pun intentional happened to note it when I posted on social media that I had done that. It's like, so those pods you have, can you make more? And so I have one queued up to make for him. I'm going to use a black PETG I have for that, since I can't find a good charcoal. I thought I had one, but apparently not. And so print one of those for him is coming up. I'm also, for myself and for others, gosh, I have so many things to print. How am I going to get these done? I'll find a way. I may not get them all done in time. But I was going to print badges for a group because we have an adventure coming up tomorrow night into Tuesday, which I'll talk about next week, that I'm hoping to help us get some swag before we go do that adventure. I'm looking forward to that. No, I'm not selling anything bootleg. You stop it. People are paying me for materials and time on my printer for printing whatever they want. So we'll see how that goes. The other thing is I've been asked to print just recently, essentially a Connect 4 game kit or such, with very specific types of coins, essentially custom coins for Connect 4 to make it a sports team or oriented type of game. So the person wants me to print something specific like icons on the coins themselves that you would drop into Connect 4 so that it looks like the team that he prefers. And so that's when I'm having to do some research to figure out what size the coins are and then make them, because I haven't found any models that really would work. Pseudo. So I've got that in the works next for a commission, essentially. And then the other one I'm doing right now that's on the printer is for this adventure. I'm trying to print myself finally, although it's not, I haven't done a custom yet. This is just one I think will fit me better than some. But I'm trying to do a magic wand, Harry Potter style. And so we'll see how this all comes out. But that's what's going on the printer at this moment. All right. So that's most of what I've been doing with 3D printing. I'm trying to think some other stuff. I hopefully have a fix coming because I RMA'd and because thankfully Robo3D has a really good warranty for at least the first 6 months, like an anything warranty. And on it, I initially had got my Pogo parts fixed, which were the little connectors for the hotbed. Secondly, what I've now got fixed or coming, and it should be in the mail soon, is a new vertical Z-axis motor and screw. Because I've shown in the past some of the prints, and even in some of these, it's less seeable depending on the angle I print, but they've got little ridges that go vertically in the print, where it kind of has a sinusoidal wave effect to the prints, where depending on how big the print is, what color it is, they're more noticeable than others. But with some of the bigger prints I've done, it's bad, like piss you off. This is a great printer, it should look cleaner than this kind of bad. And so what I have coming now is that new vertical axis, which hopefully if the screw's nice and solid and true and straight, will eliminate that wave effect that I've been seeing in my prints, which would be nice because then I'll feel more confident about printing things for other people and have it look good. So hopefully that comes tomorrow or the next day, although when I'll have time to figure out how to replace it, I don't know yet. So there'll be some challenge there, but hopefully I figure that all out. And then I'll start printing like a madman. I've already been printing costume pieces for some people. I have ideas for all kinds of future things that are coming for cosplay. Want to keep this printer working all the time. So we'll see how that goes. So that's 3D printing, I think, as a whole, everything I have coming up with that. So we'll see. As I just mentioned, I will be calling Comcast to say WTF my internet during the show every week. That ain't cool. I feel attacked. I feel focused on. Not cool. And beyond that, I think that's the main things I had for my geek cred today. Don't think I have anything else queued up. There's more that I'm sure I will earn this next week. That's one thing I was going to do towards the end of this, because it's just me. And next week, I think might be me just as well. I thought I would go about sharing my most recent Loot Crate, because it's live and I can unbox it right now, and there's some content for you before I start talking news. So what I'm going to do is, screw it. I'm going to, let's see, I got to check how much time I have left. Oh, I got enough time for this before it automatically moves me over. So, I still will probably play music and a quick break, but in the meantime, let's see. I got a new Loot Crate, and it's got on the back of it Cog Crispy, so this might be robot themed, we shall see. If I go directly, I might be able to guess the theme if not. Oh, I love these miniatures. And so I've got a Collector Series miniature called Queen Takes Bishop. And what this is a little Aliens miniature that I'm sure is something else I can take into work to be on my desk. It looks like it has a little assembly involved, but a little package with a Queen Alien in it, and a spike that goes through another character. So that looks like it will be fun. One of my favorite things to get in, yes, that I like getting in any Loot Crate is clothing, because Lord knows I need more shirts. This one for those who don't know, is going to be reference off the new movie coming out, Blade Runner. The new Blade Runner 2045 or 49. And I love these kind of shirts. I also have one of the Alien shirts. That's the Whaling Company ones. Love loot shirts. I wish everyone had a shirt from that. This will be fun. Oh, wow. This is a great crate for me. So this one from Disney is a Star Wars R2-D2, but it's a wooden one that takes some assembly. And so putting together like a 3D puzzle kit, popping out from the wood, a R2-D2. That will be a fun thing to put together. Oh, it's fun. They show painting, and it's like, yeah, I'm not good at painting. We'll see. So robots may be a theme because the loot pin for this one says robotic. And so for this month's loot crate, which makes me very happy. And then, like I said, the box itself looks like you turn it around, and it becomes a essentially kind of like an old cereal box around robotics with little things in it. Let's see. There's a challenge to the building thing with the R2 thing I'll have to read up on. They always have a little book talking about all the things in here and potential super crates. The last thing that's in here, I also love when they do this, excuse me, is a comic. And this being Star Trek Next Generation. It's called Mirror Broken, Origin of Data. Ooh. I'm very curious about that one now because Data, great character. Anything talking more about his origin, and in comic book form, they can be much more harsh than they tend to do on the shows itself. So for me this month, quite a good crate. That makes me happy. All right, so on that note, I'm going to back it out, let it begin, and I'm going to take a break, switch over, and then we'll come back talking about news, technology, and more. So you're going to listen to a song by our friend Leo because we love Leo. And I'm going to get refreshed drinks, stretch, and get us back to going. All right, you're listening to Show X on VTWProductions.com, and we will be back right after this break.
Send in your emails to showx@vtwproductions.com.
Hey girl, wake up! My mind, don't wanna think about moves every time. I win back a smile in everything you do. Don't you understand, girl? This love is true. Your sides are credentials, sweet and thin. That's kinda like a vision up on your skin. It lights up my day, and that's so true. Together we're one, separated we're two. So make you all mine is my desire. There's something in the world to you that I admire. You're really plain and simple, you rule my world, so try to understand. I'm in love, girl. I'm so in love, girl. I'm just in love, girl, and this is true. Girl, you know it's true. I love you. Yes, you know it's true. I love you. Girl, you know it's true. My love is for you. Girl, you know it's true. My love is for you. This is some sort of thing, girl, I can't explain. My emotion starts up when I hear your name. Maybe your sweet, sweet voice ringing in my ear. Then I let my system know when you are near. Come with the positive emotion that I'm making enjoying. That's what they eat a bus. It's like a girl and a boy. These feelings I get, I often wonder why. So I thought I might do something close to you and I. The real, I don't care, as I said before. The reason that I like you, girl, you know what you are. If I said I think about it, you rule my world, so try to understand. I'm in love, girl. I'm so in love, girl. I'm just in love, girl, and this is true. Girl, you know it's true. I love you. Yes, you know it's true. I love
to Show X on btwproductions.com.
Hey everybody, and I'm back. All right, so wanted to follow him. That's Leo, and yes, we love him. He's loud and great. Wanted to follow up that also got a message in talking about from Kuro's girlfriend that said, speaking of getting game time in, said that during it. So this coming from Lover. I'm approaching 90% completion on Horizon, not only in the game progress, but PSN trophies as well. That is impressive, especially considering what it is. That's Horizon. It's Horizon Zero Dawn, the good one. I was thinking No Man's Sky, but yeah, no, Horizon Zero Dawn, which is a great game. The thing looks beautiful. I kind of wish I had a PS4 just for that. Not enough to get one, but kind of wish I did. So yeah, good job on that. Anytime you're actually almost going to complete a game, that is pretty impressive. So awesome. Let's see. So now switching over as I transition this. I think that's all I had to talk about. Yeah. And say
Technology, news, and more today on the Geekoscope.
so. Okay. So Grayfield said that it was in Nito Reno is what it looked like. Gotcha. I wasn't sure. Maybe it was what I grabbed. I forget what it might have been. Like I said, the models that were there were kind of rough. So going back to that. Anyhow, news! So I was trying desperately during the break here to also look through where is it that I get all of my gaming news that comes to me. Because one of the things I have is I am signed up in several places as a news entity. And so I get a lot of information about new games coming out and things like that. And normally I kind of let it be. And there's a lot of games that I'm not as interested in. But in this case, I actually thought there were a few things recently that I kind of wanted to talk about. Normally, I don't email them into the show, but maybe I should start because they're like whole pieces of technology there. So I'll have to start doing that, is throwing them into my show notes like I do the rest of everything. Shucks, I cannot find where those ones go. So we'll see. Maybe I will. Regardless, news for today. Speaking earlier of Nier, and the fact that I have a lot of friends that I've seen on my social media who seem to love it in a way that I am not prepared for. Like, holy cow, they love them some Nier. I've had the opportunity lately, and I appreciate it, to watch along and see them play some, because the game is gorgeous. It's just a lot of stuff that I was not prepared for. As we talk about robots and stuff, it's appropriate. Because Nier, and this one is officially... let's see, come back over to, where's the story? From Nier Automata, which is a story of basically these, in this case, androids who are going out in the world to, I'm not sure what, because I haven't seen enough of the plot line, but are running into a bunch of machines that may have gone wrong or iffy. I think they're coming in to clear the Earth so that a colony of humans that are on the Earth, or on the moon or somewhere like that, can come back and repopulate. And so they come down and they have to fight their way both through swords and guns and magic and such to actually... So it's interesting because, as Sarah was saying, Nier is awesome. Expect the PC port. Now that, except I'm assuming, that is abysmal. It's interesting is that I've watched Hyde and Unintentional stream a lot of Nier, and that's the only way I've really been exposed to it. And it's a pretty game. They both are playing on the PC and using controllers for the control scheme. I think they tried on keyboard for a minute and were like, nope. It's definitely a console-oriented game, a port from the consoles. And the beauty is throwing it at full 1080p and running at 60 frames per second. It's gorgeous. It's a big, somewhat open-world game with kind of specific plot things you can follow, side quests, objectives, things like that. I don't know myself. I haven't explored it. I've just seen people that have already had some knowledge in what they were doing playing it. And it's neat. It's very combination melee, action, adventure kind of thing, and... Again, the spells and other things to go along with. You have a partner through most of it that is AI controlled that has some benefit and effects, but it's mostly you as the primary player. Apparently the storyline is deep, like wholly deep, about androids gaining consciousness or something to that effect and what it means to the rest of existence. And I've at least seen or witnessed some pretty creepy scenes in it where some of the machines are coming after, like saying things that just don't sit right. And so it's a cool game, and I've seen love for it everywhere around the gaming and cosplay community. There's so many people that are dressing as 9S and 2B, the main two characters in it. And so I've seen outfits and stuff around just everywhere. It's pretty cool. So, based on what's been going on with it and kind of the surprises Square's believes hits with it, they say Square Enix hints at Nier Automata sequel as sales reach, quote, far in excess of expectations. So, when it was first announced, the sequel to the obscure 2010 game Nier appeared doomed to failure. It seemed bizarre that Square Enix would even attempt such a thing, and yet now, according to them, Nier Automata has sold over 2 million copies worldwide. And I'm reading this from metro.co.uk. Even with the extremely positive critical reception, including our own review from Metro, that's extremely good for an apparently niche title, especially as Japanese sales, not including digital, only accounted for around 350,000 copies, with worldwide PC sales on Steam standing at roughly 600,000, which, if nothing else, tells you a lot about where this game was sold. So despite the game market making little impact in UK retail charts, that means over 1 million copies were sold by console gamers in the US and Europe. The success has not gone unnoticed by Square Enix, who stated in their last financial results that Nier Automata, which they released in February of 2017, has proven a global hit far in excess of our expectations. It has not only reminded the world of high quality of Japanese games, but also demonstrated significant potential for future franchise development. And I think that's the key line there that makes people go, what? That presumably means a sequel, and according to fans of Nova Crystallis, the company is already hiring in Japan for a Nier-related project, although that could easily be some kind of mobile title or occasionally rumored remake of the original. The other reason Nier Automata's success is such good news is that the game helped to save developer Platinum Games from disaster. After Microsoft canceled Scalebound, the studio suddenly found itself in serious trouble, but Automata ended up being one of the biggest hits so far. So whether Platinum would be involved in the sequel is impossible to say, as Square Enix director Yoko Taro is the creator behind the series, although he'll be particularly pleased because Automata has made more money than all of his previous titles combined. But before you start imagining what else the game's success might inspire, another comment like Square Enix Financial Report gives a very different picture of what they might be planning in the future. This other excerpt says Games as a Service, which encompasses MMOs and games like Destiny and esports, says, "Gone are the days in which single-player games were of primary status and multiplayer games secondary. Lately, multiplayer games have taken the lead, and it is standard for games to be designed for long-term play. The term multiplayer and games as a service themselves have existed for some time, but they are now being used in reference to game designs that place a strong emphasis on longer-term user engagement. We will also endeavor to develop games designed not to be played once after launch, but that consumers can enjoy more and play longer. In so doing, we will increase customer satisfaction and enhance the lifetime value of the games themselves." Yikes. Now, I say yikes mostly because Wayne, as a gamer, does not like MMOs, does not like a game that you play the same game forever. I like a game that is well constructed with a solid storyline and gameplay elements that I could play for a period of time, preferably 20 or 30 hours, if not more. Nier, I think apparently my friends have like 80 plus hours in, because multiple playthroughs and such. But I want to play it, feel like I completed it, enjoy it, let it sit in the corner of my heart where it's like, thank you for giving me that, and then move on to other new games and new IPs. Part of the reason I hate MMOs is because they basically say, no, play this game forever, for always, and that's it. Only play this game, you don't need anything else. The gaming world and market is too big for that. There are too many AAA titles coming out. Why would you limit yourself? So I'm a big fan of the idea of like, play one game, enjoy it, finish it, and then go do something else. But we'll see. I mean, that's a pretty good news story from a smaller title getting such notice that the main company might actually look at extending, or at least that they notice the value in what fans have loved. So we'll see, but I do have hope that a game as popular as this that so many of my friends are enjoying will get a sequel. So we shall see. Alrighty then. Moving on. This kind of another, talk about in a different way, retro and interesting article coming to us from craveonline.com, talking about a man making a dream. It starts off saying that anyone that had anything close to a solid childhood, me at least, probably remembers playing the classic Game Boy. You know, that big ugly gray box that wouldn't fit in your pocket as much as you wanted it to. But as ugly and big as it was still part of our childhood, and we miss it dearly. But not to worry, because one student has brought it back, even if it's bigger than you remember. So it says a 21-year-old from Belgium named Ilhan Unal decided to spend a month of his life building the largest working Game Boy ever, a world record, coming in at about 3 feet tall and 2 feet wide. Here's what he had to say about his creation. He said, quote, "The Game Boy was a huge part of many people's childhood, including my own. I was obsessed with my Game Boy as a kid, so I wanted to create something that would put a smile on little me's face and hopefully on the face of anyone who's a big kid at heart." Well, knowing that this massive Game Boy is actually fully functional and plays all of the old cartridges would put a smile on anyone's face. The Game Boy graphics may look a bit odd, but that is only because these graphics were made for a tiny screen. But regardless, this has taken us back to our childhood, and for that we give the dude kudos. It has a video attached to the article that you can catch in the show notes showing the massive Game Boy that he has basically on his lap. It's very entertaining to see, and I'd be curious to actually watch it play, so I may have to watch this video. I love this idea where people, because admittedly, old tech like that is kind of basic. And I've talked before that you can make emulators for anything in these days, and I'm a big fan. But for someone to do the original form factor, button placement, and everything of an original Game Boy and just make it huge and able to still play the original cartridges, I gotta give him props too. That's a feel-good story. And cheers to a gentleman doing something as ridiculous and pointless, really, as that, but something that I can follow and say is a ton of fun. So good on ya. Let's see, other articles. Those are my new ones. That's why I say I was looking forward to some of the announcements I had seen about some of the newer games coming out. There's a 40% off sale right now at EA for Battlefield 1, including, I think, something on the overall, what was it, the premium, like to get all the different add-on and DLC stuff. So there was that. I want to say somewhere in here, I thought I had gotten some emails about some of the other games coming out. There was some legit, like, good content. And so I will have to find where those are again, or at least work to make sure I forward them to myself. Because that is content that I think you guys might be interested in. A lot of it's kind of minimal content or stuff that doesn't reach into everything, but hey. Some other just kind of, I don't even know if I call this on the Horizon news, but it's just stuff that I will watch because I haven't talked about for some time. But got most recent email from Star Citizen from Roberts Space Industries. Their last email came out basically stating, "Hey, the Star Citizen team continued to work hard on the Alpha 3.0 build this week. Paid off as a total number of bugs and blockers dropped. Devs are driven to get the build into testers' hands so players can experience the excitement of piloting their ship from space into atmosphere and across one of Crusader's moons." And it says, check out the production schedule and an in-depth update about what was accomplished. Meanwhile, it says the PR team traveled to Montreal's office with Citizen around the corner, and Alpha 3.0 is growing ever closer to being released. So they're talking about feature burn down and things they're working and trying to play with some other new features, because if nothing else, Star Citizen is definitely known for wanting to add more features. But the takeaway from this, and I don't know if it's truly a takeaway, I have struggled because Roberts Space Industries keeps teasing, essentially, that they are making some kind of progress on the next major stage in this, which would be the 3.0 release, which is supposed to give us the true open world and stuff like that. Of course, that hasn't happened, and they've said words like this for, gosh, the last, I don't know, almost a year it feels like, where they keep talking as though they're on the edge of the progress paying off, where suddenly tomorrow we might be playing 3.0, at least checking it out. Still not there. Still haven't seen it. WTF. And so there's this at a point where it's a believe it when I see it kind of thing, even though I am saying as a whole, awesome, and I really am hopeful that it hits soon. Because that's one of the things I believe I will be able to get most of VTW into play as part of the same thing. Wouldn't that be a fun time? I was going to throw, but unfortunately I think it's passed already, that on humblebundle.com there was recently a sale, and actually they do this about every month or so, where they'll offer up a free game that if you're a member, you'll get a thing and it'll say, hey, just do it in code now and you get a free game for life for that game. And it's whatever one they're showcasing. This last month they were showcasing Outlast, or at least the last couple days, because I think it's kind of leading into the Halloween scene as that's getting ready to happen. And everybody should know, Wayne loves him some Halloween. And so we shall see if there's more on that. But that was one I did pick up because it came with I already had the original, but it came with the expansion as part of that as well. So I was like, yep, need me some of that. What else? Oh, they have a bunch of other sales out there in general if you're interested. But I was trying to be on the lookout for people for that one. Especially one of the big things I have is as Halloween comes up, Wayne is a big fan. Going to be throwing a Halloween party again for the first time in I don't know how long. But one of the things I like to do is I like to challenge myself as I lead up to and play scary games and let people watch me like squeak or watch me kind of get all uncomfortable as I'm watching things that are tough to watch. And so that was one of those ones that I remember picking up a couple years back and playing. It was like, woo! And so wouldn't mind trying some more. So yeah, that's one to look out for. But even if you missed it, I think it's on sale right now for about half off if you're curious. So you may check that out. Let's see, other news. And by all means, if you guys have news, it'd be great to hear from you as well. I guess some regular little ones from various things. Good Old Games had some sales and some other stuff. A bunch of people trying to sell me things that do not matter. News from Namco that the new Project Cars 2 is now available, and I'm trying to decide if that's something I care to pick up or not. I enjoyed Project Cars 1, but I didn't play it enough. And so there's that. Oh, there you go. How many streamers are going to stream Friday the 13th on Friday the 13th next month? That's funny. I didn't even think about that. Since there is that adventure game out there now, or kind of 1 versus 4 or versus many horror game where you can play Friday the 13th and you play as Jason, I believe it is. And that's now a game and it's out there. That why wouldn't it be the perfect thing to stream when you're doing that? So that's a good call, Grayfield, and I'll be curious also to see how many do. I need to pick a day to do my streaming. I'm going to try, because I get scared easy, to invite friends over to all kind of work together on getting scared as a group. And so I'm throwing it out there, and I recommend for everyone, if you don't normally like scary things or scary games, give it a shot. Go out and during this Halloween season, one of the best seasons of the year, catch some, do something spooky for the season. Would be nice. And I would love to hear or see streams of what other people are doing to celebrate these holidays, because Halloween is best. All right, well, since I'm not seeing wherever I get all of the rest of my posts, which is bugging me, I think I will have to go back to some of the older stuff that I have kind of catching up or lingering in my inboxes and things. So let me go back to the show notes. And from there, let's see, other articles I have. So some of these are just dumb and simple, and I've wanted them around forever to kind of show people. One of them, I don't know if I brought this up before. I thought I might have. I thought I did Mario's infograph. Did I do this before? I feel like it's something Ken and I talked about. Regardless, if not, I'll revisit it, and I'll go ahead and show this in the show notes, but also on stream right now, so you guys can play along. But with that, infographics, you aren't aware, of these long pictures essentially that talk about the history of something all the way to now. This infograph, which you can click to enlarge and make the whole screen, shows the history of Super Mario and his family tree. So it goes down through all the old games and stuff that he's done and been a part of, and kind of anywhere you possibly could have found a Mario character, or at least the main man himself. I don't know if I'll get into this one, but I do want to share that and people check it out. From the beginning, and just where I like it, is it talks about a collection, just the first part of it, a collection of Mario's in-game appearances from 1981 through, in this case, 1996. So not necessarily everything that's new. But it starts out, and it says, let's see, a lot of these are like newer stuff. So I won't want those. I want to go all the way back. Back. Where do we start? Okay, so let's see, I see 88. Let's go all the way down to the beginning of this part. There we go. Or it starts out in the arcade with the original Donkey Kong at 1981. So this one starts from the bottom and moves its way up. Unlike most infographs I've seen start from the top and go down. So, and it starts off even there with it says 1981 arcade, and it says, fun fact, when Shigeru Miyamoto and Takashi Tezuka started work on Super Mario Bros., it was originally going to include a shooting mechanic. And no, it wasn't the gun from Portal. Okay, that's funny. But it goes up that originally it came out 81, then you hit Donkey Kong Jr. in 82, Mario Brothers in 83, which kind of led to the Super Mario Bros. Franchise there. They had some odd ones that people might not have remembered, like Mario's Bombs Away, which is in 83, and Mario's Cement Factory in 83. And then also in 83, another version of Mario Brothers. These were all for Game & Watch, which I don't know what that was. The others were arcade. Then it had the original NEC PC, where it had Mario Brothers, or was it Punch Ball? And then Mario Brothers Special at 1984, Pinball, which on the original NES was probably the first, I think, title on the NES that had Mario in it, where he ran around below carrying the little blocker that you used to knock the ball up and down. And then, both in the same year, starting off the real franchise, Wrecking Crew, which I guess I wouldn't have realized was really Mario as a character in that, but looking at the picture does seem it. But then the one that started my love, which was 1985, Super Mario Brothers. Then extended out there through Super Mario Brothers Special, which, just another Mario Brothers eventually. But ones that maybe you're not as familiar with, that it was Mario in it. Okay, a little handheld series. Oh, that was like way back then, because that was in early 80s. Tennis in 1985 for the NES. He was the referee. One that people should also recognize him as he's doing his side jobs from being a plumber was Mike Tyson's Punch-Out back in 1987, when he was the referee on that. And then apparently he was one of the racers in Famicom's Grand Prix F1 race for the Famicom in 1987. From there on, it continues into a lot of the titles that hopefully you've seen. I'm going to look to see if there's any others that you wouldn't know. Mario Brothers 2 and 3. What was it? Katekia Mario Brothers, Famicom version. Super Mario Land, original on the Game Boy in 89. Dr. Mario 90. Tetris in 89. That's because on the regular NES, not on the Game Boy. Quicks in 90. Golf in 91. Super Mario World in 90. Yoshi in 91 on the NES. That's one I would have known. Super Scope 6 Laser Blazer, the one where you had the big light gun, I think, for the Super Nintendo. That was 92. Separate and different was Mario Teaches Typing on the computer on MS-DOS back in 91, back when I was doing Mavis typing. Mario Paint 92, Super Mario Land 2 in 92, and another one that is an off-title I would know, Yoshi's Cookie in 92. Then it continued up into the Super Nintendo market further with the original Super Mario Kart in 92. Mario's Missing in 92 as well, and then a bunch of other titles going forward. So I think those are interesting, and I have a bunch of little side notes and other things on there because I like hearing more and more about characters and stuff like that, and kind of when you might not have known their history and what they've been doing. So, big fan of that. All right, continuing, let's see. As we are getting back to the last portions of the show, let's see. Oh, some of them I would love to have had Ken on to discuss with. Let's see. All right, I'm going to try this one because it's just another list, if you will. And this is an older article. Hopefully it still links where I need it to. Sometimes once they're old ones, they don't. But this one comes to us from GameSpot. And again, so you can play along in case I don't catch all of them. And of course, Grayfield, you've played all these old things. It only makes sense. This is from GameSpot, and this is an older article from actually last year. So it's not necessarily up to date, but it's about old stuff, so it might still apply. This one comes up saying, let's see, phone calls and stuff that I'm missing. Okay. It says 25 timeless RPGs you need to play before you die. And so I'm going to go through the list. Okay, this is actually by image. And so it starts out saying, from historical important games to those with great stories to those that are just brilliantly unique. These are the RPG games that you cannot afford to not play. And so it starts out, and let's see if this is actually one of, it must be, okay. It says, initially released as Final Fantasy III in the US, this one is for Final Fantasy VI. It says, this SNES Squaresoft classic tells the story of General Celis Cher as her band of returner allies as they fight an evil empire and eventually face a world-shattering apocalypse started by a mentally unbalanced clown. Okay. The game was one of the first to put such a heavy focus on character development. Even player characters get a compelling backstory, or every playable character. And each gets its own optional, story-driven dungeon to complete in the world of Ruin. Nice. That's what admittedly I've missed. I never saw, and a lot of people told me it's great. All the Final Fantasies I didn't play. I started on 7 and only went forward from there. So next in their list of all the big things you must play, Dragon Quest VIII. This is another one I never played. It says, no list of must-play RPGs would be complete without an entry from the incredibly popular Dragon Quest series. To us, it was Dragon Quest VIII, Journey of the Cursed King, and stands out a favorite thanks to its incredibly expansive 3D world. It is also loved for its simplistic, lighthearted approach to storytelling, but 8 also has 4 playable characters and, of course, a unique art style that's used throughout the Dragon Quest series, and apparently from the same creators as Dragon Ball Z. Let's see. Chrono Trigger. So this is one that gets talked about a lot. It says Square's Chrono Trigger will forever stand out as a gold standard of 16-bit role-playing games. It's an epic RPG built around the infinite possibilities of time travel with a great art style, plenty of plot-filled side quests, and multiple endings, including one where dinosaurs rule the world. And who wouldn't love that? What makes the game so compelling is its approach to time travel. The actions of the past permanently affect the world's timeline, creating unique puzzles and even more unique plot twists. Great though swords may be, nothing in game makes you feel more powerful than being able to travel through time and change an NPC's life for the better. So, and of course, these are a lot of these I figure Grayfield will know all about. So, Shining Force 2 is both one of the best RPGs of the Sega Genesis era and one of the best tactical role-playing games of all time. In the game, you play as Bowie, a leader who must assemble an army and save the world in a traditional Demons and Dragons RPG storyline. The story is interesting, but the bulk of the game's fun comes through battles. Correctly positioning your units is crucial. Rushing into battles will do little more than get you killed. There are plenty of secrets to be uncovered too, including hidden towns and a secret battle you can only access after beating the game. Nice. Next, number 5 on the list. Now, I don't think it's in particular order. Xenogears! Between giant Gundam-style mech battles, a protagonist with split personality disorder, a religion, and philosophy-inspired storyline, anime cutscenes, and expansive sci-fi world is easy to see why the 1998 PlayStation classic Xenogears was such a hit when it first came out. The game holds up well today, in part because it's so complicated you want to play it more than once to fully understand the game plot. Let's see, next on the list, and interesting that this one's on the list, I would say, Elder Scrolls 5, Skyrim. First of all, Skyrim is big, huge, even with hundreds of hours of gameplay and epic side quests. And you're going to want to take your time exploring. As was written in a review, a side quest that starts as a momentary distraction may turn into a full-fledged tale that could form the entirety of a less ambiguous game. Open world Skyrim means it is integrally detailed and interactive. You could kill that NPC or marry her. You can battle a group of cannibals or join them in devouring humans to restore your health and stamina. You live in a beautiful, troubled world as Dragonborn and do with it as you will. This is one of the ones I'll comment where I think Skyrim is amazing, but I would almost argue that Oblivion is better. And so for especially how fulfilled it is, Skyrim is slick in how it's portrayed, but Oblivion had so much. So next, Final Fantasy IV, another one I never played. Known as Final Fantasy II upon its initial US release, the Squaresoft title was the first must-have role-playing game for the Super Nintendo console. See, I missed Super Nintendo. That makes sense. For many of us, it was our first introduction into chocobos, summons, the archaic adjective spoony. And aside from having a story-driven gameplay much deeper than the original Final Fantasy IV is notable for ushering in the age of active time battles where your speed in choosing action spells affects the order in which they are cast in battle. That's definitely one of the mechanics that's lingered for a long time. Fallout 2! This is going way back and awesome. Don't get us wrong, we love Fallout 4 as one of our chosen top games of 2015, but when it came to the absolute best Fallout games, especially with mind to classic RPG elements, we need to give props to its post-apocalyptic turn-based predecessor, Fallout 2. It's an open-world game, so of course, exploration and character customization is a huge part of the fun. They quote saying, GameSpot, "It's pretty hard not to have fondness for a game that gives you experience points for activities as diverse as playing chess against a mutated scorpion, suffocating a mob boss, fixing a two-headed cow's leg, and slicing a Tom Cruise doppelganger in half with your trusty laser rifle." And the nice thing about those were the old classics that really had a lot of depth with all kinds of random side quests and things you could do. And just the kind of world it portrayed was bleak and wonderful in the way that it was. Alright, this is one that's been a massive game and I've heard about for years as being a favorite. So not on the list, it says Final Fantasy Tactics. Admittedly, when Final Fantasy Tactics first came out for PlayStation, the game wasn't perfect. The strategic battle system was spectacularly fun, the graphics were stellar, and it had an amazing score, but its complicated story was a bit too hard to understand, poor translation, and the garbled tutorial system was a disaster. Many years, many releases later, Tactics is finally what it should have been. The medieval world of Ivalice is still filled with intrigue and strife, and countries are still warring with each other, watched over by thoroughly evil religious order. Meanwhile, this latest translation, almost experience and elegance, fits the saying so well, the kind of writing the game should have had a long time ago. That one's one of those ones I never played much of, but it basically has this big, the sense of the real strategic element, more so than most RPGs, that I know made it hugely popular. Number 10, Earthbound. Earthbound is different from most RPGs, very different. For starters, this beloved Nintendo classic is set in a medieval fantasy world. It's set right here on Earth, and you don't play as a heroic knight who needs to save a princess. Instead, you take control of a baseball bat-wielding teenager, Ness, who soon meets a bee-like and dung beetle-like, time traveler with distressing news of an alien threat. People you meet are weird and enemies are weirder, and you recover your health by eating pizza. The game only takes itself as seriously as it needs to, which results in an epic, unforgettable experience. That's another one I never really played full of and hear great things about, so it's a comp. Now, one that I do have experience with and I think is pretty epic is Ultima 7. Richard Garrett, who I've met in person at DragonCon, thank you, is a true pioneer in the RPG gaming industry, and PC classic Ultima 7 is his self-described crowning achievement. The game is stunningly freeform and interactive for its era. Rather than follow a linear script, 7 embraces an open-world feel that makes you simply wander and complete side quests. You choose dialogue from trees, making you feel like an active participant in conversation. Townspeople can just as easily be aided and robbed as killed, though choosing the latter route will have a noticeable in-game consequences. You can just, chill out, milk cows, and bake bread. If you will enjoy it, live how you want to. That was one of those ones that was the pinnacle of the Ultima series. I played most of them. And through it, I played the heck out of 7. That one was such a good game. Top-down, pseudo-isometric view, and it's just so much you can do in it. Even though it's all pixel-based sprites and stuff, it's so good. So good. And of the Ultima series, one of the best. Lunar, Silver Star Story Complete. Another one I've never played. It says, if you're one of the privileged few who owned a Sega CD console, then chances are you also own Lunar, the Silver Star. It was the second best-selling Sega CD game of all time worldwide. Number 1 in Japan. The game was so popular, in fact, that it was re-released multiple times, first for the Sega Saturn, and later for the PlayStation as Lunar Silver Star Story Complete. The original game was groundbreaking. The new CD medium allowed for extensive use of animated cutscenes and voice acting. It brought the game's compelling characters to life and really made you care about them. Even the well-coiffed, egotistical, bumbling mage Nash. Even more enjoyable is the game's quirky sense of humor. And it said it was legitimately funny. So, also, it says it has now been ported over to iOS, and so you can play it for $7 on a mobile device. Next, Pokemon Red and Blue. So I never really played these, admittedly. This is it! The game that started a multi-billion-dollar video game empire. As any Pokemon fan will tell you, the real fun of Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue isn't the story as much as it is the mission to, quote, catch 'em all. Nintendo made the brilliant decision, marketing-wise, to release the original Pokemon game as 2 separate Game Boy titles. Though the two share the same story, the only way to acquire all 150 original Pokemon was by purchasing both or trading with a friend, opening up a whole new, in real-life, social aspect to the game. Arguably, no RPG enjoys the same level of replay value than the Pokemon series has enjoyed over the years. Because the gameplay is determined by which is cute, cuddly, and occasionally ferocious pocket monsters you train with. No two playthroughs are exactly alike. Pokemon, I've never truly embraced or understood the series, so I am sorry for that. I know many of you have, but it was just one of those age things where I didn't think I got. Alright, I will try to power through some of those. I don't think I'll finish them all before the end of the show. Next one is Final Fantasy VII, where I started Final Fantasy, and I think it's amazing. It says, when you clicked on the gallery of RPGs you must play before, you just knew there'd have to be a talk about Final Fantasy VII. In '97, Epic, originally released for the original PlayStation, which I had, has an epic storyline that reveals itself perfectly. You start out the game as mercenary Cloud Strife, assisting a radical environmental group in its efforts to blow up a reactor. Through side quest exploration and normal gameplay, you come to understand the tragic circumstances that have shaped Cloud's life. It is currently available on PlayStation, and it'll be interesting to see when the remake comes out. Another one, Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. Interesting. Who would have thought that video game's biggest action star could make such a smooth and enjoyable transition to the role-playing genre? In a departure from traditional Mushroom Kingdom storyline, Bowser actually joins with Mario, reluctantly of course, to defeat the game's antagonist, a metallic blacksmith named Smithy. Mario still gets to face off against traditional foes like Shy Guys, but he does so in a menu-based format, reminiscent of Final Fantasy games of the era. He also gets to explore a 3D version of Mushroom Kingdom, another first, albeit in 3/4 view. So there is that. I agree, Grayfield, that it could have been any Final Fantasy game. So this goes back to not the one I played, but some that's a series that definitely needs to be mentioned. At number 16 on the list, Phantasy Star 4. Phantasy Star series is Sega's crowning RPG jewel. Because it was released in the US before Square's Final Fantasy, the game gave many Sega Master System games their first ever taste of role-playing genre. It wouldn't be until '95, however, until the Sega would perfect the series with the release of Phantasy Stars 4 for the Genesis. It's got a comic book style visuals, a smart way to work around the graphic limitations of the 6-bit game, and the story is engaging and at times heartbreaking. Most importantly for the series fans, though, is how well the game tied together and paid homage to the events of the previous 3 games. There you go. I knew Grayfield would appreciate that. Following this is World of Warcraft, which we don't even need to talk about. Then they go Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. I'm happy they got some more PC stuff in there. And quickly it says, if you instinctively avoid RPGs with non-traditional settings, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. Yes, Knights of the Republic is a Star Wars game, but it also happens to be arguably the best Star Wars game of all time. There are so many quality things to be said about Knights of the Republic. Definitely check it out. Diablo! I don't think that counts. It's a dungeon crawler. No. Fire Emblem Awakening. Now this is interesting. Fire Emblem is one of the best strategy-based RPG series in existence. One, sadly, that too few people in the US have ever played. But it's not our fault. It took more than a decade for Nintendo to port the series stateside. And the company only did so after characters Marth and Roy had debuted in Super Smash Bros. Melee on the GameCube. Fire Emblem Awakening is the 2013 bestseller for the 3DS and is a great way to get introduced into the franchise. The rock, paper, scissors style grid-based combat is one of the best in tactical genre. So admittedly, this is one that has challenged me because I was never able to fully get into like the combat system of it. I understood, but it was also, I've been coddled by some previous games where I didn't realize that as I played it, if a character died, they were done, out. And so I played at least one match where I went that happened. I was like ready to play for them in the next battle, like recovered or something. They weren't there. And I was like, oh. So I had to go back and reload back before and try to get through a battle. And now I'm stuck trying to sit there, wait, now I can't just do a battle of attrition. I got to do a battle and be perfect to maintain these main characters. So that became stress, and part of the reason I've never actually finished it. So next it has Mass Effect 2, which again, I've not played the Mass Effect series. But it's one of the best-selling second installments in the game series, and the story of Commander Shepard battling against Reaper Horde in an extinction-level event, their coming heralds. There's lots to love about the game, but what they love most of this is that it's a hybrid between RPG and shooter, and really works well, apparently, as well as the decisions you make while playing the game affect its story. Also, that the fact that they let you do saves from previous games to influence the game you're coming up to. Here we go into actually a better level is Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. So they talked about Skyrim in the past. Morrowind was arguably a much bigger and more in-depth game. Thousands of characters who react to you based on your persona. Rich game world full of intrigue. And more objectives and quests than any human can reasonably expect to complete in a single playthrough. All big benefits to really any Bethesda game. Then we get to one of the huge ones as we're getting ready to end the show here. Baldur's Gate Shadows On. Again, a series I've never finished, played some of them, thought was amazing and should go back and do. And then almost last is Secret of Mana, which is another SNES game that was one of those huge fans of everybody. And the last on the list is Disgaea Triple Play Collection, which I never played any of Disgaea. I have heard about, but never played myself. All right, that is the end of the list. I think it is a solid one, actually, as I look through them. There's some I would maybe throw in there in difference. I would argue out to all of you who are fans of RPGs and played console, PC, and both and throughout. What are some of the biggest, most favorite games you played that are RPG level that they did not include, be it the series or a specific one that they should have mentioned because of its standout performance? For mine, I never played Phantasy Star 4, but I played 1 and 2 and thought they were epic, like introductions to RPGs for a console-based game. And so those were some of mine. All right. With that, though, it is time for us to end the show. As we do, I want to remind everybody that this month's Times art contest is active with the themes Experimental, Halloween, First Attempt, Fireworks, and Algorithm. And the quote, "The whole is greater than the sum of its parts." And so I want you guys to check those out. Make sure you can release anything, be artwork, photography, a poem, or something else that you find interesting, artistic. Please join in and jump it into the show. We don't have anything in there yet, but Halloween's coming up, so if you're working on a costume, look at that. If you have an event, anything else that you might play with, by all means, jump in and join us, as well as advertise to your friends. We'd love to have more people that we haven't seen before in the art contest. All right, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. That's the end of the show. Last problematic notice. Next week, I don't think Ken will be joining me again. Pretty sure he'll be out and about, and I am going to be doing some martial arts things. Not to say there won't be a show. Instead of not having a show, I plan on hosting the show probably 2 hours early that day. So instead of 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. GMT, look for the show at noon Eastern and 5 p.m. GMT for Show X. And that should give me enough time to finish up the show and then go do martial artsy things afterwards. So look forward to that. I will post it on the front page as well, so hopefully you'll notice that. And please email your geek cred into the show at showx@vtwproductions.com, as well as let us know what your thoughts are on any of the things we talked about today. I definitely want to know if there's some of the RPGs you haven't hit, as well as what your thoughts are on things like a possible remake for our additional sequel for Automata, and just someone making a huge Game Boy. So there's that. All right, with that, I'm out of here, guys. Thank you very much for listening, and I got to take off. Please play games together. Check out the TeamSpeak, the Discord, and other people that are playing video games. Don't play alone. There's multiplayer on the internet for all of you. All right, I'm out of here, guys. Have a good day.
Goodbye. See you in the next zombie.